Welcome everybody back to a brand new episode of The Lookout, episode 129. We are of course here, still rocking at Kame House. We just touched back on. We had to take a couple days off to do some press, to watch some movies. I'm watching a movie about Dragon Ball, but not at the Kame House, which is very interesting. But nonetheless, we are here. Unfortunately, I guess we're gonna say Jeff is in a room, chilling on his own. Let's say that. He took a sick day today. So essentially, he will not be on this episode, which is incredibly ironic because this is Jeff's pick for the summer at Kame House. But nonetheless, we have someone who's going to be a guest on it always. He was always going to be a guest on this episode nonetheless. So I'm glad that he's here co-hosting with me, fresh off a Big I retirement. LJ, from formerly known as the Big Eyes Podcast, now he just kind of like, where do you exist in? What space do you exist in currently?
You know what? I'm chilling right now, but just know that there's some really cool things and fun things coming down the pipeline. So y'all see me again. Y'all might actually literally see me. So yeah,
okay,
I'm really excited. Yeah,
that's always good to hear. Sir, just last week, we had our big Dragon Ball superhero week. Essentially, we did some press for it, talked about that. We did a review for it, talked about that. You, sir, have seen the movie. I would love to hear your thoughts on said movie, or if you have anything to add in terms of how it made you feel, or just the experience of the movie itself. It's a new Dragon Ball movie. It's a pretty big deal. How did you feel about the movie?
Yeah, definitely. First, man, listen, Meelz, you work so hard on this network. You've done so much, literally day one, and to see you get to interview the cast and interview some heavy hitters in this industry, congratulations to you. Big ups to you, man. That's so amazing. I'm really happy that the Lookout was able to get that first preview of a what I feel is maybe one of the best Dragon Ball movies that they've done.
There's definitely either one or two at this point.
Yeah, nah, for real. It completely exceeded my expectations. I know that my bar was really low for this movie. I did not think that this movie was going to be as good as it was. It from the story, even the animation was amazing. I think they really did the 3D thing really well, and it looked really smooth. It was I think what's funny to me is that the comedy in there hit so well. Even Piccolo being like, why are the words popping up? I don't know, man. It was a great movie. It was a great time. I took Kaya to go see it, and even she was like, yo, this movie was so good. I love it. Can we go see it again? So, I really enjoyed it. I love the fact that we stepped away from Goku and Vegeta. I love the fact that Piccolo was on his Batman status. He was doing detective work and, making phone calls and setting up plays. Overall, just a really amazing movie, and I just really enjoyed it. It was a great theater experience. The funny thing is that my theater was completely empty, so it was I had a great time having the theater to myself, me and the kids. I
love it. Are you a snack guy? Did you get some snacks? Well, you had a kid, so I'm assuming you had to have snacks.
Oh yeah, I keep it really classic when I go to the movies. It's usually just popcorns and a Coke. That's really it. Popcorn and Coke.
Popcorn is finished usually before the movie even starts.
Yeah, that's me too. The popcorn is really just it's there to keep me full for the movie. Right. By the time the movie starts, the popcorn's done, and I got half a Coke left, and I'm like, all right, cool, this is for. But and then Kyle's with me, so obviously she went candy crazy. So But yeah, that's that. I keep it simple when I go to the movies. I'm not the type of person where I'm in there with like a full platter, like the
Sure.
nachos and the pretzels, and I'm like, yeah, just give me the popcorn and Coke. And if I'm really feeling frisky, I'll get some candy.
All right. I like it. I like it. Listen, the movie's incredibly enjoyable. If you have not watched the movie, please go ahead and do that right now. And if you have not heard our coverage of it from the last week, make sure you go back to last week's episode of Lookout, since we had to pretty much jump off the island, do some work, jump back on the island, do some work, and make sure that we complete this thing before the end of the summer. So make sure you tune into our interviews with the entire cast, all of them. Not all of them, but all pretty much the core cast is definitely there, and our review on Subsly Dubsly with J and D. So make sure you tune into that, and go back to all of our content. Subscribe on our YouTube page as well. It's all amazing, man. This is all copacetic. Everything is feeling fine. Speaking of Dragon Ball things that may not land as high as the movie for you, I got to talk a little bit of the manga with you. We just had the reveal. I need your first thoughts, man. Black Frieza or Frieza Black? Where are we going with this?
Frieza Black. He's really trying to do is justify the Hello Monkeys line. That's all he's really. that's the only thing he's really trying to do.
Did we need a new Frieza form at this point? I mean, we're still getting introduced to it, so I'm assuming that we're gonna find out some more about it afterwards. But did we need a new Frieza form?
No, we didn't. But that's what Dragon Ball is all about, though. It's about forms. It's like
marketing.
It's like how can I outdo the last form? How can I add another color to it?
How can we sell 10,000 more toys?
It's all about marketing. It's Frieza with a new color and a higher power level. We didn't really need it, but listen, it's Dragon Ball. Like, they know what works for them. So, like, regardless of whatever critiques I may have, it's gonna work. People go up for, like, even, like, you got to even think Goku. Like, how many forms has Goku done had? But every time a new one appears everyone pops for it. They're like, oh my gosh, like, it's Goku, but now he has, fuchsia hair, like, it's
right.
So did he need it? No, but a lot of things in Dragon Ball you don't really need. But like you said, it's a marketing thing. It's a thing that they know is gonna, for their fans, it's something that's gonna make it pop. I've said this multiple times that I was going to hop back into the manga as soon as Frieza appeared again, and he appears again, and a quintessential, not just Dragon Ball villain, but an anime villain in general. He kind of sets the bar for anime villains. So, you know what? You take it for what it is. You take it at face value, and it's something fun, something cool.
Listen, it's proactive. It gets the people going. I'll say
that. Definitely.
So, new Frieza form. I don't know what his new powers is. I'm gonna make a bunch of jokes about it. So we have that. If you guys are interested in any Dragon Ball related news, how about we get to what we came to talk about today, which is Tokyo Ghoul. And Tokyo Ghoul, you know what? I'm gonna save all my commentary for when we get on the other side of the coin. But nonetheless, let's talk about Tokyo Ghoul.
Equals. If we were to treat them like the animals they are, they'd kill us all.
I'll walk you home. I mean, what kind of date would I be if I didn't at least do that much?
It's this way. Is there something wrong, Toka?
It's nothing.
Kaneki, I want you just as much as you want me.
But we need consent from the next of kin.
Next of kin?
He needs her organs to survive.
What the hell are they talking about? It doesn't feel real. I'm different somehow.
All that matters is you are still you.
What's up, Kaneki? You feeling any better?
I say you make the most of being a half-breed.
I wonder if the other one-eyed ghoul is anything
That's
like...
enough.
What the hell am I supposed to do now?
You have to admire prey that can match you move for move. Keeps things interesting. Step aside. She knows too much.
How pretty. Ghouls in the world don't mix. Run, dear. Run fast.
It doesn't concern you or me
With all due respect,
or anyone else.
I'm more ghoul than human these days.
They'll hunt us to extinction.
Drives me crazy, especially when there's no reason for it.
I've left more of your ilk in the garbage than you could ever eat of mine in a lifetime.
Did you send me there? I just want to see her again.
Kill a person, man, eat their flesh, family, flesh, children, flesh, eat it. You have to help me.
So you're not a human?
I can't be a ghoul.
Well, you're not a ghoul either.
All right.
Very intense.
That was intense, kind of erotic, but also kind of intense.
Yeah, okay, there we go. I always thought about like what is the word that I would use to describe erotic is definitely the thing.
It's like a bloodlust that comes with it. I know this. I'm taking Jeff's word. If Jeff would be here, he would absolutely use the word bloodlust, and kind of discussing this. But we're gonna be discussing episode. Episode 129. We're almost done at the Summer Kame House. Tokyo Ghoul season 1. This season is. This is all right. So I'll say this. I'll preface it by saying this. This is the first time that I've ever seen this at all, in just period in life and whatever in general. So all these are my first kind of opinions, my first watch opinions. I've only watched it once. I was watching the first episode and the second episode, and I was like, yo, why did I decide to watch, just considering there's a, an ungodly amount of blood and gore and horror and all the other shit. But you're into this shit apparently.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. On the artist formerly known as Big Eyes, it was one of our mangas of the month. And I mean, there is definitely some changes in the anime and the manga, but I think both are really, they're done amazingly well. I know a lot of people have their gripes about the anime and some of the things that changed. More particularly season 2, but season 1 is very consistent. But yeah,
Somewhat.
I love it. I love I love it because it's, when you first watch it, and especially when it comes to things like ghouls and and stuff like that, you think it's gonna be more of this like ghouls versus humans type thing. And then the more you watch it, it's kind of like a soap opera vibe with it. You got all the, there's crazy things within the ghoul community. There's extra layers added onto it as you see that ghouls they're just trying to live their life too. There's ghouls that kind of go, that try to do things ethically, and there's like there's a lot of different layers to it, and I love it. I love the story that it tells. I think the goriness and the bloodlust in it adds to it. There's some parts where you're just like really uncomfortable watching it. There's particular scenes that I'm pretty sure we're gonna get to later in this episode, but no, I love Tokyo Ghoul. I love the art. I love just everything about it. It's so punk. Like it feels punk to me.
I like that. I like that you said that. I'll be honest. On my first watch, I'm like, yo, why do people like this series? And not to say that it's necessarily bad, but I'm like, yo, this is like ungodly amount of like gore. I guess if you're a horror fan, I'm not a big horror fan, but if you're a big horror fan, especially considering how this anime starts, and the first episode to me is very, very. It's a strong episode in terms of how to introduce kind of everything that's going on, and sets the tone very, very well, because it starts off with a boy named Kaneki and his best friend. Am I saying Hide? Is it Hide? I'm bugging.
Yeah.
Okay. His best friend Hide. I'm still trying to get all the people's names on this because this.
There's so many names they introduce you to in the first season. You're like, what? Like, it's
Yeah.
hard to remember. Even me watching the series multiple times, I still get lost in it.
I'm going to listen. We're gonna have to lean on somebody to do this shit because I'm not gonna remember everybody's names. But they're enjoying themselves. There's a girl waiter, Toka, who things them. He's like, yo, she's kind of cute, blah blah blah. And then he sees another girl named Rize, who's funny because what's funny about Rize is because now there's like I'm on I'm on Twitch a lot, so I see
Yeah.
a lot of what the young people are saying. And they got a new word called Riz. It's New York slang, Riz. It's like you got game or something. And her name is Rize and something like that. And I'll say the definition of Riz in the Urban Dictionary. It says another word for spitting game / how good you are with pulling and sustaining bitches. And it's funny that
Oh,
Rize. Go ahead.
like the fact that Urban Dictionary is still up and going and still
Sometimes you need it.
like Urban Dictionary was something like back in junior high. So I think I've talked. I mean, me and you have definitely talked about this before, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But my love for New York culture and how much like it's played an influence on me in life.
Of
But
course.
Urban Dictionary was my thing when I would like listen to Dipset and like all these New York artists and like they'll say something. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like Urban Dictionary was my way of like going and be like, oh, that's what he meant by that. So
Or you listen to
the fact
French
that
and trying to figure out what Fanute the Coop means.
yes, exactly. But no, that's great that Urban Dictionary is still a good source for people trying to learn new slang terms.
Well, listen, he's trying to riz up Rize, is what I wanted to say.
That's
That's kind of how I
hilarious.
wanted to get up in there, and it ends up like, to be honest, it ends up like any other horror story. It's like the worst experience possible that you could ever figure for a date. Like you go out on a date with a girl and then she tries to murder you. Like that's possibly the worst outcome for any time you're just trying to like, I don't know, get laid or something like that. Um they're like, oh, okay, let's take this trip. I'm gonna walk you home. Let's take this way home. And then that's normally my red flag. I'm like, since when do you start pulling out directions? Wait a minute now. Like I'm trying to think of all the red flags before he gets to the point where obviously he gets his like shoulder chomped on, that he could have avoided the situation and it just ended up the worst for him. Um Purple hair, kind of a red flag.
Oh yeah, colored hair. Um, favorite author, same favorite author.
Yeah, that's usually a big red flag. Like same favorite author is like, yo, all right, relax. Come
Yeah, you're
on.
like, how do you even like? This is a deep cut. Like, how do you even know
Yeah.
about this?
Listen, I got the last copies of it, so I don't even know why you wouldn't. Oh, you read manga too? I bet. Okay. Um Shoot. I don't know. Like I don't know.
But I
That
think she played it smooth. Like, you know, and also, him. She chose the right prey. She chose the right one to go after. Like he's quiet, he's sensitive. He doesn't really, he doesn't seem like the type to, he's not getting a bunch of play.
yeah,
Like he's
no.
just out here, he's a calm, chill dude that like lives his own life and really like loner. Next thing you know, this beautiful girl with purple hair and glasses and anime titties comes after you. Like, what else? What else are you gonna do? You're definitely not gonna deny that date.
Let's see. All right, let's see how this goes. Hold on. Let me see if I can play this audio clip and it'll play and we can kind of see.
私気づいてい
Oh
たんです
no, it's never mind. It's in Japanese. This said dubs. Come on, Crunchyroll. Come on.
Hmm.
All right. Nonetheless, I'm not going to play it in Japanese for you. It would make it even more erotic than it is before. But nonetheless, a lot of signs, a lot of red flags that came up in a play. He thought he was getting in. She bites his shoulder. She transforms into this ghoul. We're learning that there's ghouls in entire thing. Living in a world with ghouls. I don't know. So let's talk about it. Demons, ghouls. What else are they in anime that things that will torment you?
Demons, ghouls, vampires,
Vampires,
titans.
titans. That's another one. What are those things from Parasite? Oh, parasites from Parasite the Maxim.
Parasites.
We have
Yep,
those.
parasites. What else? There's always something.
It's always something. It's like it's
It's always
never.
it's never like someone could just live a normal life and just kind of, there's always something trying to attack you or eat you. I think that's the thing. Like, why you gotta eat me? Of all things, like, why you gotta eat me?
Because that's how they need to sustain. It's always sustenance. It's always a
Yeah, it's,
sustenance thing. Like they just can't eat normal food, or else I guess it would just be, you know, uh, just I don't know. It would be completely copacetic. It was like, oh, there's just demons. I'll just go on a date with a demon as long as Da-da-da. Anyway, for some reason, this is another trap because the ghoul, Rize, absolutely gets killed when something falls upon her. Let me ask you this as someone who obviously has read this. Do we find out who pushed whatever shit on her and ends up killing her in the first episode?
no.
No?
But Rize is like, she's yes and no. You just you figure out
It's
that
not
Rize
Rize
you
itself.
like you feel like you really learned that she was wilding. Like she was like out here just like Rize's a wanted human being. He obviously learned this in the anime too, but she was really out here wilding out.
So you've read the entire series and be telling me that we never find out who pushes the thing on top of her.
No.
All right, whatever. Another part that seems fishy goes to the doctor and says, "Let me use the only way we can save you is to use this dead girl's organs." Doctor, I haven't heard anything about signing off, no organ transplants. I haven't heard anything about organ donor, anything finding the card on her, anything. It's just like, yo, you have this amount to live. We have to incorporate her organs into you. That would have been fishy myself. I would have been like, you should have killed me. You have no consent to put in. First of all, anything could have happened. You put a girl's organs in me. I could have titties. I could have all types of other stuff like that. Like, there's no next of kin or like parent or anything of the rather best friend. Something be like, nah, maybe you shouldn't do that. So I don't know. This started. I'll say this anime started
Oh
off
wow,
very.
I just remembered. No, I lied. You do figure it out.
I would assume so. I'm hoping so.
I
Yes.
figured out.
Okay.
My bad. I lied. Sorry, everybody. You do figure it out. I completely forgot.
Okay. Is
Sorry.
it
It's
anyone that
been
we've
what?
seen in the first season?
It's been a year since I've reread it.
Is it anyone that existed in the first season?
No.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Nonetheless,
But once
go ahead.
again, she was wilding. It's not like she deserved to die, but she was wilding.
I guess I'm not gonna say deserve to die, but I'm not like a ghoul sympathizer either because like I don't know. I guess no, actually, I don't know anymore because this entire series, so it presents the world of living with ghouls and trying to live as ghouls, and now Kaneki, who's the main character protagonist, all of this becomes half ghoul, half human. So now he's like experienced the world through biracial eyes and is
Biracial eyes. That's funny.
it's I didn't even put eyes together, but yeah, he's experienced the world through biracial eyes and figuring out that this world is a lot more cruel to ghouls and or humans than he would like to believe initially. Few things we've learned about ghouls: they cannot stomach regular food. Um, only coffee, which is mind-boggling.
That's a crazy handicap.
Are you a coffee guy?
Oh, I love coffee.
I don't drink
I
coffee.
try to go if you follow me on Twitter, I try to replace my morning coffee with green juice, and that lasted only a couple days.
Green juice is a lot of it's a lot to like make and or find and or it's just not as convenient as coffee.
No, shout out to my neighborhood getting gentrified because there's a Whole Foods like right down the street from my house.
Of
So I usually
course.
just walk there and get a green juice.
But is
But
it more expensive than coffee or the same?
no, that's the thing. It's about the same price as a coffee.
All right, I feel like
It's like $4.
$4. Okay. I need to live where you live.
You do. No, you don't. It's horrible. Shout out to St. Paul. But it's horrible
Inflation.
here.
Yeah, no. So he can't eat food. Has a hunger for humans every time and rather. Um, can only I don't want to say can only do is work at night. It seems like they can live through the day. It's not they're not vampires or gargoyles or something along those lines. I've been watching Gargoyles as well, the animated show Gargoyles on Disney Plus. Boy, is that a great show. Just a
Is
heads
it?
up. If it ends up on the lookout, it's not an anime, but if it ends up on the lookout, it's because it's a great show. It's a
I
great, like,
haven't. You know what's crazy is that I remember watching Gargoyles, but I don't remember the story at all.
I
Or
don't
like I don't.
remember anything. I avoided gargoyles, and now I feel like
Why?
an idiot. I don't know, because it didn't seem interesting to me. I was a very big Power Ranger. Um, I had very few things. I still do. I have very few things that I actually cherish, and very few things. I'm not someone who wants to discover stuff. I don't have an eager, mind for discovering things. I'm kind of cool where I'm at right now.
I
Um,
feel that.
but it was recommended to me by a lot of people on Twitter. Decided to go check it out. It's great thus far. I would recommend it. I would put it on the lookout if it was an anime, but it's not an anime. But who knows? I might end up here anyway. Um, but it seems ghouls they can travel around, but there is definitely like a ghoul opposition force. I don't even know the name of it. What are they called? Like people who chase after ghouls and wants to extinguish the world of ghouls.
Oh,
Um,
the CPD or
there we
uh,
go. Might
yeah,
as well
the
be.
police, something like that. CPD, right? Yeah, 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 yeah.
So they have those kind of people who are trying to extinguish the world of ghouls and everything that they have, and they
C
have
no
various
C
wards.
C CG something. I said CPD. CG. Is it CGD? Something
Let
like
me look
that.
up. Let me look it
GCG.
up. Let me look it up. Let me look it up. Ghoul investigator who is part of the CCG. Where's
CCG. There you go.
CC Commission of Counter Ghoul?
They're horrible people. I hate them all.
They usually are.
No, people know about my Amon hate though. I think he's a horrible character. I think he's so bad.
Mm,
I think
I
Amon is absolute. He sucks so much.
I don't feel any strong way, which way or another, about him. So yes,
I hate him so much. He's such a trash character.
does he become a ghoul
No, he doesn't. He
during
doesn't
the?
deserve that type of power.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, listen.
He's horrible though. I hate him.
Most characters I'm gonna ask about, we're gonna end up spoiling this because apparently season 2 of the show is the shit. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But apparently season 2 is the shits according to the internet. Um, so we get
And
introduced.
apologize if I mess up on anything on here. Once again,
That's
I mean
okay.
obviously rewatched it, but it's been a minute.
Listen, that's okay, man. Listen, this is my first time watching it. You haven't rewatched it in a while. We're going off of vibes right now. This is not a
Yo, yeah, we're vibing. Yeah, I
you listen
listen.
to it, enjoy the episode, and then turn it off and go on to the next thing. God bless you. Shout out to Jeff. Wish he was here.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
but so we get various different arcs, and apparently they've like shuffled around arcs in this first season because the Dove shit apparently happens after the the other shit, the next arc. Hold on, let me look it up. They had story arcs. I'm on the fandom page. I'm
Hey,
clicking.
shout out to fandom. I don't think fandom gets enough credit as it should as
Well,
anime manga.
it depends on the type of fandom page, because there are some fandom pages that are not filled out. Like I think Jujutsu Kaisen fandom page doesn't get as filled out or updated as frequently as it could. But if it's an anime that's kind of over, you have all the resources to kind of do your thing. Or if it's like Dragon
Yeah,
Ball or something, like there are people who are fans. If it's a super popular thing, it will be updated. But of course, fandom has been a massive resource for the lookout over the last number of years, incredibly. Um, so apparently the gourmet arc comes before the Dove emergence arc in the anime. So we have a lot of things. We're introduced to a lot of characters. We're introduced to Hide. We're introduced to so these ghouls, apparently they own a coffee shop um owned by Yoshimura. Let me see. Yoshimura. works at the owner of a coffee shop called Intico. Okay, and has employed pretty much every ghoul that is living among the earth. So this is it's giving me cheers. It's giving me something that's very. We're employing ghouls to work at a coffee shop, which could be its own side show in itself.
Oh yeah, that would be a great gag show.
I think so too. There's already seemed to be a lot of spin-offs of this Tokyo Ghoul shit, so them just having a slice of life working at a coffee shop and trying to maintain ghouldom is
It's like Moe's.
yeah. Let's talk about, you know what, we won't run through these things because to be honest with you, I'm not as familiar with a lot of this stuff as I would like to be, so I would like to just ask you, what are your favorite parts of this first season?
Favorite parts of the first season.
I'm a big fan of the what's my man's name? The guy who tries to be Maximilian Pegasus. Suiyami.
Maximilian Pegasus. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Sukiyami.
Yes. That is a good part. To be honest, my favorite part, it gotta be Jason. It has to be the end when Kaneki gets kidnapped and you see the transformation part. I think that for me, I think that part's my favorite because it's a culmination of like everything that Kaneki goes through in terms of like figuring out like what it means to be a ghoul and a human, and how he wants to try to deny the fact that he's a ghoul now so much, and he hates it. Like he hates the fact that he's a ghoul now.
This is a biracial story if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, for real. Like he hates the fact that he's a ghoul.
I'm not white.
It's he goes through this this turmoil, and like you said, like throughout the story he understands too that ghouls go through their own set of trouble. Like they're not these horrible monsters that they're portrayed to be, like they have their own society and set of rules, and they try to do things ethically. Like even when you look at you learn that there's some gang wars happening, which is another really cool part that comes up. But you understand, like there's some underground things and things happening, but there's a set of them that really do try to live their life in a correct way and live in an ethical way, I guess. Even like when it comes to eating humans, like they don't just go and kill. They'll find people who have committed suicide, and they'll go collect their bodies and then eat, feed off the dead bodies of people who have died. And he's learned like, damn,
very sustainable in a way.
Yeah. And so they're like, yeah. So like they have like a legit spot that they go to. They're like, nah, people jump off this all the time. Like we know where to go. But no, he tries to learn about that. And he starts seeing, he starts seeing like, okay, they're not all monsters and they're not all these like horrible things that they're just trying to live amongst humans and they have to hide amongst them. And I think the part too where he sees Hiname's mom die, and I think that part right there where he's like, holy shit,
jumped.
Like, yeah, she gets jumped,
which is wild. How you jump a mom and her child? I was like, come on, man.
That's ridiculous.
Even real gangsters don't do no foul shit like that.
Nah, not at all. You don't jump people, man.
I'm
anti jumping. You gotta square up 1-on-1. Okay. You gotta 1v1 the person. But no, yeah, like him seeing his mom die.
This is from someone who's watched Tokyo Revengers for so long and he's a fan of that show.
Yeah, bro. Listen, you gotta 1v1 a person. You can't just jump them. But no, like, and then by the time, he gets, he's caught up in this world, and once again, a world that he had no type of need anything to be a part of, but you see him really, get into the mix, and then you figure out, like, Rize was on some wild shit. Now, like, the fact that, he has her organs in his body, now he's kind of caught up in her shit and the shitstorm that she done caused. And so that's the reason why Jason now, kidnaps him and, is torturing him. And once you figure, he has this moment where he's getting tortured so much that he starts hallucinating and having this conversation with Rize, and you start figuring out that his human life wasn't that fucking good either. He's his mom, dies from overworking herself, and he has to go live with his aunt, and then his aunt treats him like shit. He's kind of been on his own for a while now, and he's dealt with these kind of suppressed emotions, and dealing with these suppressed emotions, it finally it comes to the surface with him, and then you see, connect he finally accept his ghoul side, and he goes through this transformation, and then that final battle between him and Jason is just, it's so much that happens right there. You're like, holy shit, you get really caught up in all that. But I think that's definitely my favorite part of that moment of, you just see him snap, you see him finally accept the fact that he is a ghoul, and that he does have these he accepts that side of him, but you just see the transformation that comes with it, and he gets caught up in that too. But no, that like the battle between him and Jason, and then Jason coming around. Jason's a goddamn monster, coming in with the hockey mask and everything too. Oh, he's such a beast.
How do you feel about all the masks in this series? I love the masks.
I love the mask too. Yeah, I love the
Once
mask.
I
I
go to
love how they
cons,
all.
I'll notice them for once because I'm like, all right, whatever, fuck it.
Oh yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's a cool way too to add like individuality and personality to some of these characters.
Right.
Like, even with Kaneki, the reason why his mask is the way it is, or Toka, her mask, and you figure it out, and then as you get deeper into the series past season 1 and whatnot, you figure out that once again there's different gang factions that wear all the same mask. You get the apes and the dogs. Like, it gets tough.
You did a great job at explaining pretty much piecing together the beginning to the end. I'm trying to figure out more great parts. I mean, I did love the Tsukiyami part. I thought that arc itself was just kind of like really it kind of showed, like we were kind of talking about Kaneki, and like, okay, doing what it takes to be able to save people, and does he have truly what it takes? And he goes through this moment. There's several times throughout this arc where we haven't even talked about the Kagune, but the Kagune is essentially whatever special power they have to like murder people. But hopefully it doesn't become more involved. I haven't read past this arc, this first season, or watched past the first season. Hopefully it doesn't become more involved, like it's Super Saiyan or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Kagune is the special power that they have, and it's activated. Essentially, when it's activated, it's like you're in your ghoul form, like you're doing the damn thing. Shout out to the
Oh yeah,
Ghoul
yeah.
Arts.
You're in the middle of, yeah, shout out to them. Yeah, it's like you said, that's their battle weapon, and all of them all have a different personal one.
Right. And even the ghoul investigators, the CCG, have their own weapons to kind of like combat the Kagune. So there are various times where it's activated. He's activated. He has those like feral instincts where he wants to eat somebody, and then it's like his human side is like, no, you're human, relax, chill out. And his ghoul side is like, no, eat the humans, fuck them, blah blah blah. But this arc, it doesn't really activate, but it's really Toka's arc, kind of like her and her battle. Well, it's not really her arc, but she shows up in the arc and kind of has that main final thing, and her Kagune activates after Kaneki is like, yo, my shit ain't gonna activate, just eat me. And Tsukiyama gets jealous because it was like, yo, you're trying to eat the guy that I'm trying to eat. Like, what's wrong with you? So her
And
Kagune,
it's crazy too because I guess in the ghoul society, it's a I wouldn't say not accepted, but it's it's a weird thing to eat another ghoul. And you also learn
because
too
apparently they
that,
taste nasty to ghouls. Ghouls taste nasty to
yeah,
ghouls.
and also you learn later in the series the after effects of what happens when you eat another ghoul.
Interesting.
But no, yeah, Tsukiyama's a weird guy though. He's really uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. Reminds me, Maximilian Pegasus, just uncomfortable in that thing. I'm a big fan of Sukiyami. I'm a big fan Sukiyama. Sorry, big fan of Jason. Just because. Also, he's voiced by Christopher Sabat, who is now, I'm gonna say, friend of the show because he's been on the show.
Nice.
um, so he's voiced by him, which is always great. Uh, there's I'm trying to figure out what else there out there. I mean, this seems like a very long series, and in season one, it's kind of like just really a very short kind of like opening to what this world is. Like the fact that he's now accepts the world of being a ghoul, and I'm talking about Kaneki, at the final episode means the world finally opens up to him in terms of him just kind of experiencing it in his true, well, not his true self, but the new form of himself. You've read this entire thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what would you say, how would you summarize kind of the rest of the series moving forward from that season one launching off point? Like, what does it become?
Um, it becomes more of a soap opera. I think like after this season, you learn of there's gonna be some spoilers here. Um, you learn of
Spoil away. This is
yeah,
spoiler
you learn
territory
about
at this
the
point.
yeah, obviously you learn about the Agori tree, which is another faction of ghouls that kind of, you know, feel like real X-Men like, where they're like, nah, fuck that. Like, we're the ghouls, we're the ones that kind of run this shit here. Like some human shit. But, you know, he surprisingly joins them, but he does it in a way, where he still is, he's still battling like internally of like what's it mean to be a ghoul and what's it mean to be a human, like where is my place and fit in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously him growing to gain like a ghoul family, he wants to protect them so much, so he does a lot of things out of feeling that he's protecting his family and his friends, and they battle the CCG. It turns into a lot, but you just see him consistently grow and try to figure out and understand what does it mean to be a ghoul and what does it mean to be, and once again him being, this is really is a biracial story, but it's like what does it mean to like be part both, and you see him really fully dive into the fact that he's a ghoul. It really is a. It's like he's Colin Kaepernick in a weird way. It's just like Colin Kaepernick finally was just like, all right, I'm black and I'm gonna go super hard on this like pro blacks, and like he's like going really really hard on it. Like that's kind of what it is. It's like he's going super hard on this like pro ghoul shit, and and by the end of it though, he starts middling out. He starts, you know, um there's a part where there's this a big reveal that like, oh crap, he's half and half. Like these humans are like, whoa, he's part human part ghoul, like what is he? And they're all kind of taken aback by it, like how, like I can't believe, like we've never seen this before. And yeah, so it's
Do the humans accept him?
yes and no. That's where Ree gets into the story.
Mm,
And that's when Tokyo Ghoul read. That's when that starts,
okay.
touching into that.
What
But
the hell is that? What
at
is
first,
Tokyo
no,
Ghoul
because at the
Re,
end
by
of
the
the day,
way?
they're just like, huh?
What is Tokyo Ghoul Re, kind of?
It's
Oh,
it's
this.
like part two of this story. It's like
Oh.
Dragon Ball. It's like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. It's like, okay. And then
Oh.
in there, they create this faction of half human, half ghouls, and
Is it
you
good?
know,
Like, does it follow the manga, or is it good, or?
uh, it's okay. It's one of those things. Like people who like it really like it. But I think most people don't care for it. But yeah, that touches more because they come up with this whole faction of half and half. So they have like down this biracial army, and it gets weird a little bit.
It's very interesting. Let me ask you a reason. So one of the most kind of like the biggest conversation pieces around this show is how bad the second season went. One, I want to ask you, do you think have you watched it and do you think it's bad? And two, do you feel like it should have do you see why they maybe chose to do it in an original way as opposed to following the actual like manga path? Did you watch it?
I think season 2 is fine. I think it gets a lot of flack because it doesn't follow the manga completely, and obviously there is there's a lot of weird things that happen, and
Does Promise Neverland still hold the
oh yeah, Promise Neverland will forever hold the title as the worst season 2 ever. Like for real, like something has to like go really, 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 really wrong for any other anime to take that title. Yeah, it's like it's a rough adaptation. It's not. It doesn't follow completely the story, but it goes off and does its own thing. There's an actual reason to why they went original story. I gotta find it. I read it in an article somewhere, so it's not like they were just like, f the source material. We're just gonna go do our own thing. Like there was a reason on why. I'm gonna do my Googles real quick. But
I'm literally Googling it right now. So the first thing that came up is comic. I have not read this, so don't judge me if I'm reading this right now. It says Tokyo Ghoul fans have a love-hate relationship with the anime adaptation, and that is no secret. Since the franchise was licensed for a series, fans have vocally scrutinized every element of the production, and that fact was made clear when season 2 debuted. To date, Tokyo Ghoul, whatever this thing is, remains a controversial blip in the anime fandom, but there is a story behind the season that fans should hear. Recently, Shuei Morita did an AMA with fans on Reddit. Director opened up about Tokyo Ghoul. One fan asked about what happened with the second season. It says, said its canon divergent plot was okayed by the creator. However, branching the story got muddled when executives began poking around with the plot. It says, in order to complete Tokyo Ghoul second season, aim of Kaneki joining the Aogiri, we need to make some sort of changes. Ishida Sensei also urged me to change some stuff to go a different route, which is where a lot of the anime came from. We had a massive bubble of ideas, but as to not affect the lore of the original manga, it constantly felt like those ideas are being chipped away by those above me. I tried my best, and honestly, I don't have any regrets given the moment space I was allowed. So pretty much like, hey, we wanted to try something new. Then other people's like, nah, do it this way. And
essentially, like, and once again, like, I think that's the big argument too for me is that people go so hard on it not being an actual adaptation, but if the manga creator and the mangaka goes, it's fine for you to go do something original, and they give that okay. I feel like it's like, what, us as fans, like, what can we do? Like what can I really say about it? If the person who created it is like, fine, go ahead and do your own original story. And once again, it takes elements from the actual source material, and yeah, I personally, like, there's definitely some things I wish they could have done better, but and I wish it definitely was a bit more, conducive to the actual manga, but it is what it is. I think when you just take the story for what I think that's the hardest part about anime is that, anime and manga is, I think some people get so tied to the manga story that when the anime goes off and does something different, it doesn't allow them to just kind of take it for, okay, this is just an original story, and that's just what it is, and like it's
because
just
if you
telling a
didn't
different
read the
narrative.
manga, If you didn't
You
read the
would
manga, go ahead.
you would think this was the story if you
Right.
didn't read it. So it's like, the fact that it's a little different, or that, and also too, like, original, like, them going off, it doesn't mean that the original source material wasn't still used as an inspiration. They're just kind of, they're playing with the story a little bit. I think that as fans, we have to allow creators to do that and not hold it so close to, like, no, in the manga it needs to be like this, so in the anime it needs to be like that. Like, there's certain elements, and I mean, there's certain elements in certain story, like in parts of the story, where it just tells better like this, or
Mhm.
it looks better, or, it flows better in an anime form, in an animated form like
Mhm.
this, than it is when you're reading it. Um, so it's a weighted thing. I think that I don't think that this series is the I think that this series, like the season 2, catches a lot more flack than it deserves. Because if you really just watch season 2 without knowing what happens, you're gonna be like, it's fine. The story is good. I think it's just like, you get so, you buy into the manga story so much. Like,
Mhm.
and this is why I feel that Promise Neverland, though, like, season 2 is so bad, because it's not even like the fact that it doesn't follow the manga story isn't, is one thing, but the fact that just season 2 is just bad. Like, even if
I
you're
think
telling our original story, it's just a bad story.
I think season 2 for The Promised Neverland, and the reason why is because it cut out so many critical parts and so many characters. So essentially, even well, to be honest with you, I'm gonna 100% agree with you as well, because even if you're watching season 2, like for instance, Jeff watched season 2. Jeff has not read the full manga of The Promised Neverland, but he watched season 2 and he could sense that something was off. Um, and if he read the actual manga itself, he'd know everything was completely fucking off.
Yeah.
But um, that wasn't salvageable to an extent where it's like, oh, okay, like maybe we can find some good in this. Nah, it was completely rushed. Things didn't make any sense. And especially if you're a manga reader, or someone who, was looking forward to the source material being, adapted, it looks terrible because they cut out a lot of characters and a lot of parts and a lot of journeys and a lot of things. They cut out a lot and introduce a lot without giving the proper backstory to them. I still
Hmm.
always I recommend people to read The Promised Neverland because it's very good. Um, but it cuts out a lot. I haven't watched the second season of Tokyo Ghoul. Everybody was pretty much like, "Yo, don't watch it," so I haven't even watched it. But it feels like, especially after how season 1 ended, it definitely needs, like, the story isn't over, and it kind of needs this was a great launching point to end the season, to make you want to see what season 2 is about, because you're just getting Kaneki experiencing, or really embracing his ghoul side, and you kind of want to see what happens from there, especially how that affects all his relationship with his friends that he's made, his coffee drinking friends. So I mean, it's definitely interesting. Tokyo Ghoul was quite a trip. It was a very bloody, gory trip. I will say, I don't know. I haven't watched it. I don't know if I think I can go back to it knowing what I know now, but I'm not sure. This is definitely isn't one of my favorites, but it's good. It's solid. I'm gonna wait till the fire truck passes by. We'll go off.
I feel it. Shout out to the fire truck. You gotta do your job. They
this,
have very important jobs, I
this
feel.
this is very true, but I think overall it's a solid thing. I'm not totally enamored by it. It's weird. This episode is weird because this is Jeff's pick. So Jeff loves this thing, but he couldn't be on this episode, mate. So maybe we'll talk a little
He
bit.
couldn't. I feel like he would have definitely added a lot to this conversation. Get well, Jeff.
Yeah, get well soon,
He's
man.
turning into a ghoul. That's what's happening.
um, but I mean, so that's Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul season 1 of, at the Summer of Kame House. So next episode will be the final episode of the Summer at Kame House. Summer's over.
Summer's
Summer
over.
is over. Summer's
That's
definitely
wild,
over.
man. It's
Yeah,
been a fun summer though.
it's been nuts. It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. Got a lot of things done, enjoyed a lot of time, all this other stuff. But we're ending on something else big. because just last year, one of our biggest episodes was our first time watch of Naruto, the entire first thing of Naruto. And since then, I finished Shippuden, and
How did
honestly,
you like it?
you know what? I get why people like it. It gets a little hazy towards the end. Well, actually, it gets a lot hazy for me towards the end, and it actually takes a long time to get there. Um, so it was a lot of me um, reading the dialogue and then going to finding the episode and watching the action and skipping a whole bunch of filler to get to where I needed to be. But I thought it was solid. But this year, our first watch and our first major watch is going to be One Piece. We've not talked about it on all 129 episodes of The Lookout.
Did y'all do first? You're doing first 100 episodes, right?
No. We're doing pretty much the first East Blue Saga.
Okay, East Blue Saga. Not bad. It's
Um,
fun. I mean, obviously, I really listen. I made a decision when starting One Piece. I was like, I can either watch it, I can either read it. I'm not doing both. Both is too much. So I both is way too much.
it's a lot.
Yeah, I was like,
but it's on a lot of it's on Netflix. Netflix has this 1.25 speed that I really do enjoy.
oh yeah, you tell me that all the time though. You're like, you need to watch it on this. This is so much better. No, I was like, you know what? Listen, I can either watch it or I can read it. And I was just like, you know what? Reading it, I am 1,000% sure I could get through this story so much faster
You know what? You're right.
than watching it. And
You're absolutely
blew
right.
through it. Remember I had the fun Road to One Piece, and you got that great episode. That was fun. But nah, I read it. I was like, I can't listen. It's too long. It's like I either get one or the other. And I was like, there's no way I'm doing both though.
Oh my god! So we're gonna be touching on the East Blue Saga. That is the saga with the clown, the saga with the
Buggy.
the saga with the ship and the fighting the fighting food guys, and the saga the arc. Well, I keep saying sagas. The arc with the fighting food guys and the arc with the incredibly territorial shark. So that should be fun. We're going to talk about it actually next week. Hopefully Jeff will have.
Oh yeah, Jeff's
Hopefully-
ghoul transformation hopefully is completed by then.
Well, hopefully he backs away from it or something like that. It's like
I think Jeff will be a ghoul. Jeff would definitely be a ghoul.
Come less ghoul, more pirate. And just embrace it. So hopefully by then we'll have it figured out. But until then, thank you guys for tuning in to the Lookout. First of all, thank you, Jamal, also for joining me on this episode.
Oh, no problem, man. Listen, I had a great time. It's been fun. This is my first time talking about manga or anime or anything in a couple of weeks. So It feels nice to get some conversation going again.
Absolutely. A fully retired man. Thank
I'm not
you guys.
retired. It's just, I'm transition man.
That's what retirement is.
It's not.
No,
Retired.
He's not retired. But nonetheless,
I'm a free agent. I'm signing to a new team.
That's even worse. You're not signed to a new team. You're still Lookout. But thank you guys for tuning in. You can follow the Lookout at the Lookout RNC on Twitter. You can follow the Lookout at the Lookout on RNC Radio and all kind of platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, etc., etc. Again, listen to the Dragon Ball Super review. Follow us on YouTube as well, and get all your fix. And we'll be back next week covering One Piece and ending. We'll be sailing right off this island as we finish One Piece. I'll tell you that right there. So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next week.